program presents rehearsal scenes from August Strindberg's Miss Julie. Now, your host, Mr. Jose Ferrer.
Audiences who see a finished performance are seldom aware of to what extent theater is a collaborative art. It is then fascinating to be invited backstage to observe the way actors and director work to develop a scene. These rehearsals of Strindberg's Miss Julie took place over a 5-day period in a London rehearsal hall. The aim was to find ways the text, written in 1888, could be made to live for a contemporary audience. The pre-production work includes discussion of motivation, acting technique, line readings, stage business, and personal experiences of the actors themselves. I myself, as an actor, have often found that the rehearsal period is almost the most interesting part of acting, the most creative part. It is there that you use your instruments, both external and internal. The external instruments, of course, are your voice, with which you speak the words, and your body, your appearance, with which you enter, sit down, get up, walk to the window, turn around, and exit. And that's all an actor has, just his voice and his body. But inside, of course, he has his own temperament, his own character, his own likes and dislikes, his own prejudices, his background, his education, the lessons he's learned from other actors and from directors, and the experiences of his life, which he can draw on in parallel situations in the play. Now, you will see in these rehearsal scenes coming up a number of very interesting things. Mr. Patrick Stewart is first seen in character, in costume. And then suddenly there is a rehearsal scene, and this same man who appeared to be a young servant suddenly appears to be a man in early middle age. Mr. Stewart has no hair, Mr. Stewart does not wear a mustache, and so you see vividly how he draws on his talent with the external use of a wig and a mustache, but also how he transforms himself from a man of a later age into an apparently very young man. Miss Lisa Harrow, the gifted actress who plays Julie, without the aid of makeup or costume, you'll see her in rehearsal scene after rehearsal scene, and her face will change. She will be passive, she will be dominating, she will be strong, she will be indecisive. And those are the gifts that the actor brings to the stage. And the rehearsal period, as I say, is the collaborative period when you get to know your fellow actors, when you reach a deep level of emotional intimacy with them, and you make adjustments with the aid of the director, and in the case of Mr. Strindberg, the already gone author, you make deep adjustments which eventually gel into the finished performance. It has been interesting to me through the years to note that I have seen great actors play the same part on different occasions with different casts, and almost invariably their performances are very different because they are so susceptible to the specific elements of each production. In this case, the setting is the kitchen of a nobleman's mansion on a festive midsummer's eve. The two characters are the Count's daughter, Miss Julie, and Jean, the Count's servant. Both are aware of sexual tensions in this potentially provocative situation. The rehearsals progress, blending the talents of playwright, director, and actors to the final interpretation.
Thank you. Won't you have something yourself?
I'm not much of a beer drinker. But of course, if Madame insists.
Insists? Surely you know that a gentleman should never allow a lady to drink alone.
Yes, that's perfectly true.
Now drink my health. Are you shy?
To my mistress' health.
Bravo! Now kiss my shoe and the ceremony will be complete. Excellent. You ought to have been an actor.
I think you have to pick it up right up from the floor. If it's already
Like it's
there,
my shoe.
pick it up.
Oh, yes,
But
that's
the
okay.
thing is that I've actually got to get right down and take it.
Good.
Maybe by the hand. Maybe, yes, that's right, with this hand.
Yes.
Take it.
Yes. It's me probably trying to worry about saying my French, actually.
What?
It's me worrying about saying my French, probably.
You
Yes.
don't have to worry about saying your French. It's me
Yeah,
that's got
I
problems.
mean, the problem is the line actually flattering you.
Oh, I see. You mean that's
No.
too hard?
Now, if that has to be, I mean, his direction or the translation of the direction is haughtily.
Yeah.
But it can be aware, oh, yes.
Sure.
It depends on just how much of the awareness of the haughtiness is to do with her awareness of herself or of how high she is or her awareness of how low he is. You had a strong emphasis on how low he was.
Have you ever been in love?
We don't use that word. But I've been fond of a lot of girls. And once I was sick because I couldn't get the one I wanted. Yes. Sick. Yeah. Like those princes in the Arabian Nights couldn't eat or sleep because of love.
Who was she? Who was she?
You cannot order me to answer that.
If I ask you as an equal, as a friend, who was she?
You.
How absurd. Who was she? Who was she?
You cannot order me to tell you that.
If I ask you as an equal, as a friend, who was she?
You.
How absurd. Who was she? Who was she?
You cannot order me to tell you that.
If I ask you as an equal, as a friend, who was she?
You.
How absurd. Strindberg asks her to sit on that line.
Yeah.
We're having her sitting earlier. And I'm asking the question, who was she? Who was she with a premonition and a hope that it's going to be me. And when it is, it hits me in the stomach. And it's a jolt. It's like having pushed it. I mean, it's the same thing of her constantly pushing things and then running away at the last minute, and
Right.
suddenly she's pushed something, and it's happened. She can't avoid that.
And then
I don't know whether that would help you.
Have you ever been in love becomes that much more imperial,
Yes.
imperious.
As a friend and as an equal is not an imperious line. That's a genuine line too. I mean, given that we're going along the lines that communication and contact is her quest. The need for a friend rather than a relation, rather than a servant or a father is important to her. She doesn't have a friend. Who was she? Who was she?
You cannot make me answer that.
But if I ask you as an equal, as a friend, who was she?
You.
How absurd.
Yes, it was. It was absurd.
Who was she? Who was she?
You cannot order me to tell you that.
But if I ask you as an equal, as a friend, who was she?
You.
How absurd. Who was she? Who was she?
You cannot order me to answer that.
But if I ask you as an equal, as a friend, who was she?
You.
How absurd.
Yes. If you like, it was absurd. Yes, but not at this stage.
No.
Not in the first half of the
No.
play. Not pre-bedroom.
Except insofar as...
If she likes it.
That's right. I mean, everything that allows him to mix on a level with the aristocrats helps him to feel more an aristocrat.
That's right.
But that is the very clear line in genre. What I was wondering was, about any irrational line in Jean.
Oh yes, the irrationality is also to screw those things which he most admires. There is both disappointment and deep satisfaction when he discovers that the eagle's back is scabbed, that there's black around the fingernails, that the white skin is only makeup.
Right.
It's his complexity is the dichotomy about position and class, shared by many who seek to lift themselves, particularly from a most humble beginning, and where the ambition is highest. So the loathing and liking exist side by side. The envy and despising at the same time. There's also the simple satisfaction of if you are handsome and attractive and know that you are, the satisfaction that comes from seducing someone successfully has its own ends, which has got nothing to do with the other person at all. But I wanted to die beautifully, pleasantly, and without any pain. And then I remembered that it was dangerous to sleep under an elder bush. And we had a big one in flower. I stripped it of everything it held. And then I lay down in the oat bin. Have you ever noticed how beautiful oats are? Soft to the touch like human skin. Well, I shut the lid and I closed my eyes. And I fell asleep. And I woke up feeling very ill. But I didn't die, as you can see. What did I want? I don't know. I had no hope of winning you, of course. But you were a symbol to me of the hopelessness of ever climbing out of the class into which I had been born.
Do you know you're quite a raconteur?
But I think that for Miss Julie, there is no game. She is not, nothing is planned, nothing is premeditated, nothing is being worked out.
Right.
But moment by moment by moment.
She lives.
That's absolutely. I'm sure that's right. Yes.
And if there's any sense of all, that all of this, that she knows what she's doing and the whole thing is being worked out and that she's planning the whole
That's
thing,
right.
then it's,
So therefore, when I...
it reduces it
That's right.
considerably.
She made her slap him because it comes up then. I mean, rather
comes
than...
up right at that
rather
moment.
than the
I do
fear.
not want... No.
Yeah, suddenly I don't want to be kissed.
Right.
Suddenly that's going...
Right.
yes.
And
I
she's
think that's-
operating like that.
Yeah, all the way
all
through.
the time.
Right.
Yes, yes.
And
Which is, in a way, what I was trying to say about that big speech earlier, because I mean, there's no reason why she says that speech to him. It just comes out at that moment.
that's right. But it comes out of something. It comes
Yes, it comes out of her own psyche, her own need to express herself. But it's not coming out because she's decided she wants to fall for this man or
No.
get this man to help
But-
her or anything. It just comes out because she has to say it, because she's spiraling.
Because she's spiraling, but she's, in one sense, I mean, if she's drowning,
Yeah.
you know, she can be floundering, but she can also, without
Clutch.
thinking, clutch.
That's probably why she's here, because
You know.
she's got
That's
nothing to
right.
do, and she's in this
Yeah.
kitchen, and come on, she takes hold of him
right.
because that's it, and you know.
That's right. That's
And people, I mean, they say that if we didn't have parents, we wouldn't need psychiatrists. I mean, that the basis of
yes.
all our phobias as people are the images we carry inside us of our parents and what they've done to us as
Well,
children.
do you find the image of the mother and the relationship between the mother and father is useful?
I think it will be useful. I think at this point, I mean, if we're doing a 3-week or 6-week production of this play, yes, yes, it would be very useful. I mean, I would do a whole series of work, of a series of work on what that was about. We don't have the time to do that. But I think that clearly we have here, as Patrick said earlier, the last hours of her life. And we have a person who is deeply, deeply distressed and confused by pressures that came on her when she was young.
And alone. For the fact that she was set up against her father as a pawn in the game. She was made an ally of her mother, and then her mother dies, and she is left only with a father whom she has been taught to hate.
But I remember being brought up as a not being brought up as a tomboy, but being encouraged not to be feminine as a girl. And I mean, I was not allowed to wear makeup, and I wasn't allowed to wear shoes and stockings till I was 16. This is in New Zealand. And nor was I allowed, I had a brother who I went out with, but I wasn't allowed to go out with boys or anything until I was at university and I was 18. And I had a real hang-up about being a woman, because I figured that I was not beautiful. I mean, or I wasn't interesting, or I wasn't female, whatever that means.
Yes.
And it took me a long time and many tortured relationships in order to actually come to terms with my own womanliness. So in a way, I understand the kind of self-destruction element of the self-denial of one's own femaleness, from being encouraged, from being denied the natural expression that you want to as a child. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I do indeed,
so
yes.
The fact that she's brought up with you know, wearing trousers and doing the boys' things is a very important thing, because it's a confusion of roles. I mean, it's yet another confusion. What am I? Am I a woman? And yet society dictates that women do certain things this way, and you don't have the confidence to do them this way, so you do them almost the other way, because it's self-destructive.
And because in that way, if you are self-destructive, nobody else has destroyed you.
That's right.
And that,
you are responsible for your
and
own.
therefore you have in some way created something of self.
Because what that does is actually compound the failure.
That's
it says,
right.
aha, I've done it again. Terrific, I'll chalk that one up. Another
Right.
failure, terrific. But to commit suicide, as she so clearly shows in the thing, that's a positive action.
Right.
It's an action of words. It's an action of, it is an action. It's not a failure. It's a success.
Right.
When you commit suicide. I mean, if she tried, I believe if she has this thing about being a failure. If they hadn't actually gone, you know, made love together, I don't think she would have taken that big step, because it's too positive a
But is
step.
the going into make love a failure, or
No.
is it a positive failure,
No, I
or a
think-
negative failure?
But maybe she goes in with the same whim, the same impulse, that she hits them one moment and says, kiss my hand the next.
Right.
I mean, maybe it's...
Right. Yes, but on the other hand, if she, I mean, there are two things that maybe one might be possible, both might be possible. But one might be logical to the whole of the play.
Have you something in your eye?
It's nothing. Only a speck of dust. It'll be all right soon.
My sleeve must have brushed it. Sit down and I'll take it out. Sit now. Still, quite still. Come, obey me. I believe you're trembling, you great strong lout. What muscles you have.
Miss Julie.
Yes, Monsieur Jean?
Attention. Je ne suis qu'un homme.
Sit still, will you? There. Now it's gone. Kiss my hand and thank me.
Miss Julie, listen to me. Christine's gone to bed now. Will you listen to me?
Kiss my hand first.
Listen to me.
Kiss my hand first.
All right. But you've only yourself to blame.
For what?
For what? You're a child. You're 25. Don't you know it's dangerous to play with fire?
Not for me, I'm insured.
No, you are not. And if you are, there's inflammable material around that isn't.
Meaning you?
Meaning, yes. Not because I'm me, but because I'm a young man.
Handsome appearance. What an incredible conceit. A Don Juan, perhaps, or a Joseph. Yes, upon my word, I believe you're a Joseph.
Do you?
I almost fear it.
Just so happens
Have you something in your eye? It's a melodrama, this play. I always knew.
It's
Going
not.
back to Oedipus.
Oh, we have been here before. Nothing, it's just a pair of brooches.
There. Now it's gone. Kiss my hand and thank me.
Monsieur, yes.
There, it's gone. Kiss my hand and thank me.
Monsieur, listen to me. Christine's gone to bed now. Will you listen to me?
Kiss my hand first.
Listen to me.
Kiss my hand first.
Okay.
You're joking or serious?
Now kiss my hand again, seems such a destructive
That's right.
thing that she does, just to go back into, and it's in bits like that and the bit like where he orders her to come out for the lilac that I think, I think of her with an accent, where she reverts into almost a parody of her own social position.
Oh, do you think it's like that?
Now, well, it's not. It's not that she's making a social position. It's just her escape from the closeness of the situation.
Oh, I'm seeing it as a distinctly flirtatious thing.
Now kiss my hand.
Yes. I mean,
Well,
kiss my
it's-
hand for helping you. I mean, but maybe it's not, maybe...
Well, it's both, isn't it? It's sort of playing
Yes, but I
dangerous.
mean,
It's playing dangerous games and hiding behind.
Kiss my
It's kiss my hand, but it's also hiding.
So it's more of an imperious thing, you think?
Well, I think it's sort of more of a formal thing. I mean, this is such a necessary thing. It's a physical thing, and it's a natural thing, just to help
Yes.
somebody. And then
I
she
see.
twists it so that she can continue it, but behind a mask. Isn't that it? But at the same time, there is something disruptive about it. There is something... the social mask in itself is destructive of a real relationship.
I almost fear it. I almost fear it. Stop it.
Are you joking or serious?
Serious?
And you were being serious just now, too. You play games too seriously, and that's dangerous. Well, now, I'm tired of this game, and with your permission, I'll get back to my work. His Lordship's boots must be ready in time. It's long past midnight.
Forget the boots.
Yes.
No.
We can do that. This is the problem of trying to imagine a blocking before we realize the scene. But for convenience, and we may change it back with the run of the scene, I'd rather if you didn't break too far so that you can end up sitting in that chair when it comes to the speeches.
He can.
You can.
I can, right. Okay.
So if you break to just that corner of the table,
Right. Well, can't I come back? I mean, I
Yes,
think that
yes.
I think that space is good, don't you? Or
It's...
immaterial.
what it would be you would be here, and you would have moved, and you could move more that way. Move towards that if you wanted to.
To Don Juan, perhaps, or a Joseph. Yes, upon my word, I do believe you are a Joseph.
Here.
I almost feel it. Oh, sorry, wrong hand.
No, hit me with your Strindberg. There's nothing heavier than being hit across the face with a Strindberg.
I can't hit you. Boom. I hate hitting you. Slap. Sim. Stop it. Kiss my hand and thank me.
Miss Julia, listen to me. Christine has gone to bed now. Listen to me.
Kiss my hand first.
Listen to me.
Kiss my hand first.
All right. But you've only yourself to blame.
For what?
For what? Are you a child? You're 25. Don't you know that it's dangerous to play with fire?
Not for me, I'm insured.
Oh, no, you're not. And if you are, there's inflammable material around that isn't.
Meaning you?
Yes. Well, not because I'm me, but because I'm a young man.
Of handsome appearance. What an incredible conceit. A Don Juan, perhaps, or maybe even a Joseph. Yes, I do believe you are a Joseph.
Do you?
I almost fear it. Stop it.
Are you being serious? Are you joking?
Serious.
And you were being serious just now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Very good.
It is.
That's that.
Yeah.
Because it actually comes from nowhere.
Yes.
I mean, he doesn't even see it coming.
Right. You're not going back to do it again?
No.
But it's...
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually got to knock him into next week for me, I think.
Yes.
Have you something in your eye?
It's nothing. It's just a speck of dirt, a speck of dust. It'll be gone in a moment.
My sleeve must have brushed it. Come, sit down and I'll take it out. Now, sit still now. Oh, it's here. Sit still now. Quite still. Come, obey me.
Go on.
That's how I find that. Sit still now, quite still. Come, obey me. I believe you're trembling, you great strong lout. What muscles you have.
Miss Julie,
Yes, Monsieur Jean?
attention. Je ne suis qu'un homme.
Sit still, will you? There. Now it's gone. Kiss my hand and thank me.
Julie, listen to me. Christine has gone to bed now. Now listen to me.
Kiss my hand first.
Listen to me.
Kiss my hand first!
All right, but you've only yourself to blame.
For what?
For what? Are you a child? No, you are 25. Don't you know that it's dangerous to play with fire?
Not for me, I'm insured.
No, you're not. And even if you are, there is inflammable material around that isn't.
Meaning you.
Yes. Not because I'm me, but because I am a young man.
Young, of handsome appearance. What a conceit. Quite the Don Juan, aren't you? Or perhaps even a Joseph. Yes, I do believe you are a Joseph.
Do you?
I almost fear it. Stop it. Have you something in your eye?
It's nothing. It's just a speck of dust. It'll be gone in a moment.
My sleeve must have brushed it. Sit down. I'll take it out for you. Sit still now. Quite still. Come, obey me. I do believe you're trembling, you great strong lout. What muscles you have.
Miss Julie,
Yes, Monsieur Jean?
attention. Je ne suis qu'un homme.
Sit still, will you? There. Now it's gone. Kiss my hand and thank me.
Miss Julie, listen to me. Christine has gone to bed now. Listen to me.
Kiss my hand first.
Will you listen to me?
Kiss my hand first.
All right. But you have only yourself to blame.
For what?
For what? You're a child. No, you're 25. Don't you know it's dangerous to play with fire?
Not for me. I'm insured.
No, you're not. And if you are, there is inflammable material around that isn't.
Meaning you?
Yeah. Not because I'm me, but because I'm a young man.
Of handsome appearance. What incredible conceit. A Don Juan, perhaps. Or maybe you are a Joseph. Yes, I do believe you are a Joseph.
Do you?
I almost fear it. Stop it!
Are you joking or serious?
Serious.
And you were being serious just now. You play games too seriously, and that is dangerous.
So what I want to really do is to try and just choose drives for both characters and play them, even if it's a matter of playing them extremely. You know, initially, just to see if they come.
I begin to distrust more and more as I work, pinning things down. I used to think that acting was a process, you know, of getting hold of bits of a character, hammering a nail into him and saying, there, that's that bit, and then I've got to find the other bit and I hammer that nail in.
Right.
And finally I've got that whole wonderful
Right.
picture that I can play.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not like that at all. It's a case of taking things away bit by bit. And we could spend the next day and a half working on the first page.
There are great leaps going on in our minds, and maybe by Friday something will have actually sorted itself out.
Yes.
As long as we know the material well enough to be able to, don't you think?
Oh, there's no question
Yeah.
that come the day after tomorrow,
Yeah.
that the whole thing is still going to be in a totally fluid state.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Right. Absolutely.
Unless, and necessarily so too. And because it's going to be fluid, and yet there are going to be performance conditions, it's going to have some potential for excitement because
Yes.
the possibility of change, and quite radical change, continues to exist right through to,
Sure.
to then.
Thank you. Won't you have something yourself?
I'm not very partial to beer, but if you order me to.
Order? Surely a gentleman knows that a lady should never be allowed to drink alone.
Yes, that's perfectly true.
Now drink my health. Are you shy?
To my mistress' health!
Bravo. Now kiss my shoe and the ceremony is complete. Excellent. You ought to have been an actor.
We really mustn't go on like this, Miss Julie. Somebody might come in and see us.
What then?
People might talk, that's all. And if you knew how their tongues were wagging out there now.
What kind of thing are they saying? Tell me. Sit down.
I don't want to hurt you. But they were saying things which... They were using expressions which hinted that... well, you can guess. Yes?
You aren't a child. When people say that.
You aren't a child. And when people see a lady and a man drinking together, let alone a servant, at night, then...
Then what? Anyway, we're not alone. Christine is here.
asleep.
I shall wake her. Christine, are you asleep? Christine, will you wake up?
Don't disturb.
What?
People who stand in front of a hot stove all day get tired when night comes, and sleep is something to be respected.
A gallant thought and one that does you credit. Come outside then and pick some lilac for me.
With you?
With me.
Impossible, I couldn't.
I don't understand. Surely you don't imagine.
I don't, but other people might.
What? That I should have an amour with a servant?
I'm not being conceited, but such things have happened. And to these people, nothing is sacred.
Quite the little aristocrat, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
But if I choose to step down?
Don't step down, Miss Julie. Take my advice. No one will ever believe you did it freely. People will always say you fell.
I have a higher opinion of people than you do. Come on, come and see. Come.
You know, you are strange.
Yes, perhaps. Everything is strange. Life. People, everything is a scum which drifts on and on across the water until it sinks. I have a dream which recurs from time to time, and I'm reminded of it now. I've climbed to the top of a pillar, and I'm sitting there, and I can see no way to descend. I look down. If I look down, I become dizzy, but If I look down, I become dizzy, but I must come down, but I haven't the courage to jump. I can't stay up there, and I long to fall, but I don't fall. And yet I know that if I could find no peace till I come down, no rest till I come down to the ground. And if I could get down, I should want to burrow my way deep into the earth. Have you ever felt anything like that?
No. I dreamed that I'm lying under a high tree in a dark wood, and I want to climb up to the top, and look around the bright countryside where the sun is shining. Plunder the birds' nests up there, where the golden eggs lie. And I climb and I climb. But it's so far to the first branch. Yes.
And I climb and climb, but the trunk is so...
And I climb and I climb. But the trunk is so thick and slippery, and it's so far to the first branch. But I know if I could just reach that first branch, I would go up that tree as if up a ladder. I haven't reached it yet. But I will reach it, even if it only is in a dream.
Why do we stand here talking about dreams? Come now. Just into the park.
We must put 9 midsummer flowers under our pillow tonight, Miss Julie, and then our dreams will come true.
Have you something in your eye?
It's nothing. It's only a speck of dust. It'll be gone in a moment.
My sleeve must have brushed it. Come, sit down and I'll take it off. Now sit still. Quite still. Come, obey me. I do believe you're trembling, you great strong lout. What muscles you have.
Miss Julie.
Yes, Monsieur Jean?
Attention. Je ne suis qu'un homme.
Sit still, will you? There. It's gone. Now kiss my hand and thank me.
Miss Julie, listen to me. Christine's gone to bed now. Will you listen to me?
Kiss my hand first.
Listen to me.
Kiss my hand first.
All right? Yeah, that's dreadful. It's dreadful.
Yes, yes.
Dreadful.
Right.
You know what it is? It's
Nothing is...
No, the spec, are you talking in particular about
everything,
this?
well, everything from the movement to the door, from the end of the dreams,
yes,
and
right.
everything that happens here in the chair is just meaningless. Nothing is happening.
Right. No.
No.
I mean, the temperature, it's actually the intensity of the scene is deflating.
Right, and rather than... Well, yes. In one sense, there is a deflation with the move to the door. I mean, I think there is a kind of...
Well, I know, I don't think there is, because it's a decision that's made.
Yes, yes.
And it ought to
Yes,
go on.
there's a stasis. There's a moment of stasis, so to speak, as they reach. And then the chair and the spec push it further. Can we leapfrog it? Or do we want to work on that now? I'd like to, yes, I'd like to indicate...
It depends on what we're doing the run for. If we're running it just to mark it through, then we can go on.
No, we're not running it to mark it through.
But if we're trying to really continue to explore it, then it's pointless, because
because we haven't got...
the tensions and temperatures in the scene have been completely deflated.
Très gentil, Monsieur Jean, très gentil.
Vous voulez présenter, madame?
Et vous voulez parler français? Where did you learn that?
In Switzerland. I was the wine waiter at the biggest hotel in Lucerne.
You look quite the gentleman in those ales. Charmant.
Oh, you're flattering me.
Flattering you.
My natural modesty forbids me to suppose that you would pay a truthful compliment to one so humble as myself. Therefore, I assume that you are exaggerating, for which I believe the polite word is flattery.
Where did you learn to talk like that? You must have spent a lot of your time in the theatre.
Yes, and I've been around a bit, too.
But you were born here, weren't you?
Yes, my father worked on the next farm to you. I used to see you when I was young, but you wouldn't remember me.
No, really?
Yes, I remember one occasion especially. Perhaps I oughtn't to mention that.
Oh, no, please tell it. Just this once.
No, I really couldn't. Not now. Some other time, perhaps.
Some other time means never. Is it so dangerous to tell it now?
It's not dangerous, but I'd rather not. I think Christine must have fallen asleep in there.
Charming wife she'll make. Does she snore, too?
No, she doesn't do that. but she talks in her sleep.
How do you know?
I've heard her.
Why don't you sit?
I wouldn't permit myself to do that in your presence.
But if I order you to,
Well, I shall obey.
then sit. No, wait. Can you give me something to drink first?
I'm not sure what we have in the ice cabinet. Only beer, I think.
What do you mean only beer? My tastes are very simple. I prefer it to wine. Thank you. Won't you have something yourself?
I'm not much of a beer drinker. But of course, if Madame insists.
Insists? Surely you know that a gentleman should never allow a lady to drink alone.
Yes, that's perfectly true.
Now drink my health. Are you shy?
To my mistress' health.
Bravo! Now kiss my shoe and the ceremony will be complete. Excellent. You ought to have been an actor.
We really mustn't go on like this, Miss Julie. Someone might come in and see us.
What then?
Well, people might talk, that's all. And if you knew how their tongues were wagging up there just now.
What kind of thing were they saying? Tell me. Sit down.
I don't want to hurt you, but they were using expressions which hinted that, well, you can imagine, you're not a child. And when people see a lady drinking alone with a man, let alone a servant, at night, then...
Then what? Anyway, we're not alone. Christine is here.
Asleep.
Then I shall wake her. Christine, are you asleep? Christine, will you wake up?
Don't disturb her.
What?
People who work in front of a stove all day long get tired when night comes. Sleep is something to be respected.
A gallant thought, and one that does you honor. Well, come outside then and pick some lilac for me.
With you?
With me.
Impossible, I couldn't.
I don't understand. Surely you don't imagine.
I don't, but other people might.
What? That I should have an amour with a servant?
Well, I'm not being conceited. But such things have happened. And to these people, nothing is sacred.
Quite the little aristocrat, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
But if I choose to step down.
Don't step down, Miss Julie. People will never believe you did it freely. They will always say you fell.
I have a higher opinion of other people than you have. Come and see. Come!
Yeah, you are strange.
Perhaps. But so are you. Everything is strange. Life, people, everything is a scum which drifts on and on across the water until it sinks. Sinks! I have a dream which recurs from time to time, and I'm reminded of it now. I've climbed to the top of a pillar, and I'm standing there, and I can see no way to descend. If I look down, I become dizzy. But I must come down. But I haven't the courage to jump. I can't stay up there. And I long to fall, but I don't fall. And yet I know I shall find no peace till I come down. No rest till I come down. Down to the ground. And if I should come down, I should want to burrow my way deep into the earth. Have you ever felt anything like that?
No. I dream that I'm lying under a high tree in a dark wood. And I want to climb up to the top. Look around the bright countryside where the sun is shining. Plunder the birds' nests up there. There where the golden eggs lie. And I climb. And I climb, but the trunk is so thick and slippery, and it is so far to that first branch. But I know if I could just reach that first branch, I would go up to the top, as if up a ladder. I haven't reached it yet, but I will reach it, even if it is only a dream.
Why do we stand here talking about dreams? Come on, just into the park.
We must put 9 midsummer flowers under our pillow tonight, Miss Julie, and then our dreams will come true.
Have you something in your eye?
It's nothing, it's just a speck of dust. It'll be gone in a moment.
My sleeve must have brushed it. Sit down, I'll take it out for you. Sit still now, quite still. Come, obey me. I do believe you're trembling, you great strong lout. What muscles you have.
Miss Julie.
Yes, Monsieur Jean?
Attention. Je ne suis qu'un homme.
Sit still, will you? There. Now it's gone. Kiss my hand and thank me.
Miss Julia, listen to me.
Kiss.
Christine has gone to bed now. Listen to me.
Kiss my hand first.
Will you listen to me?
Kiss my hand first.
All right. But you have only yourself to blame.
For what?
For what? You're a child. No, you're 25. Don't you know it's dangerous to play with fire?
Not for me. I'm insured.
No, you're not. And if you are, there is inflammable material around that isn't.
Meaning you?
Yeah. Not because I'm me, but because I'm a young man.
Of handsome appearance. What incredible conceit. A Don Juan, perhaps. Or maybe you are a Joseph. Yes, I do believe you are a Joseph.
Do you?
I almost fear it. Stop it!
Are you joking or serious?
Serious.
Then you were being serious just now. You play games too seriously, and that is dangerous. Well, now, with your permission, I am tired of this game, and I shall get on with my own work. I've still got his lordship's boots to finish, and it's well past midnight.
Forget the boots.
No. It's part of my work, which doesn't include being your plaything, and it never will. I flatter myself that I am above that.
Aren't we proud?
In some respects. In others, not.
Have you ever been in love?
We don't use that word. But I've been fond of lots of girls. And I was once sick because I couldn't get the girl I wanted. Yeah, sick, do you hear? Like those princes in the Arabian Nights that couldn't eat or sleep because of love.
Who was she? Who was she?
You cannot order me to answer that.
But if I ask you as an equal, as a friend, who was she?
You.
How absurd.
Yes. If you like, it was absurd. Look, this was the story I didn't want to tell you just now. But now I will tell you. Do you know how the world looks from down there? No, you don't. Like hawks and eagles, whose backs one seldom sees because most of the time they hover above you. I was born in a hut. I lived there with 7 brothers and sisters and a pig, out there in the grey fields where never a tree grew. But from the window, I could see the wall of his lordship's park with apple trees growing above it. It was the Garden of Paradise. And there stood many evil angels with flaming swords to guard it. But despite them, I and other boys found a way in to the Tree of Life. Ah, you despise me now.
Oh, I suppose all small boys steal apples.
Oh, yeah, you can say that, but you despise me. However, one day I went in there with my mother to weed the onion beds. On one side of the garden, there was a Turkish pavilion under the shadow of jasmine trees, covered in honeysuckle. I'd never seen such a building. What could it be for? People went in and came out again. And then one day, the door was left open and I crept in. And I saw the walls hung with pictures of kings and emperors. And there were red curtains at the windows with tassels. Ah, now you understand. It was the lavatory. I'd never been in the palace before. I'd only seen the inside of the church, but this was more beautiful. And no matter how my thoughts might stray, they always returned there. And gradually, I began to long just once to have the full experience of actually. Enfin, I crept in. I stood and wondered. And then, somebody's coming. There was only one exit for the lords and ladies. But for me, there was another. I had no choice but to take it. And then I ran. I crashed through a raspberry hedge, straight across a strawberry patch. And then I found myself on a terrace with a rose garden. And I saw a pink dress and white stockings. You. I hid underneath a pile of weeds. Underneath, can you imagine that? Under weeds that pricked me and wet earth that stank like me. And I looked at you as you walked among the roses. And I thought, if it is true that a thief can enter heaven and dwell with the angels, then it is strange that a peasant's child here on earth cannot enter the great park and play with the Count's daughter.
Do you suppose all poor children have the same ideas as you?
Do all poor... Yes, of course, of course.
Must be a terrible misfortune to be poor.
Oh, Miss Julie. Oh. A dog can lie on the Countess's sofa. A horse can have its nose patted by a young lady's hand. But a servant... Oh, every now and again, one man manages to haul himself up. But how often does that happen? But do you know what I did? I ran straight into the mill stream with all my clothes on. They pulled me out and beat me. But next Sunday, my father and all the others were going to my grandmother's, and I fixed it so that I could stay behind. And then I scrubbed myself with soap and hot water, and I put on my best clothes. And I went to the church in order to see you. I saw you. And I returned home, determined to die. But I wanted to die beautifully, pleasantly, without any pain. And then I remembered that it was dangerous to sleep under an elder tree. And we had a big one in full bloom. So I stripped it of everything it had, and I lay down in the oat bin. Have you ever noticed how beautiful oats are? Soft to the touch like human skin. I shut the lid, and I closed my eyes. And I fell asleep. And then I woke up feeling really very ill. But I didn't die. What did I want? I don't know. I had no hope of winning you. But you were a symbol to me of the hopelessness of my ever climbing out of the class into which I had been born.
You know you're quite a raconteur. Did you ever go to school?
A bit. But I've read a lot of novels, been to theatres, and I've heard the gentry talk. That's where I learnt most.
Do you listen to what we say?
Certainly. And I've heard plenty too, sitting on the coachman's box or rowing the boat. I once heard you and a lady friend.
Oh, indeed. What did you hear?
I wouldn't care to repeat it. But it surprised me a little. I couldn't imagine where you had learnt such words. Perhaps at the bottom there isn't as much difference as people suppose between people and people.
Oh, nonsense. We don't behave the same way you do when we're engaged.
Oh, is that so? Come now, Miss Julie, you don't have to play the innocent with me.
The man to whom I offered my love was a wastrel.
Oh, well, that's what they always say, afterwards.
Always.
I have heard the expression before, on similar occasions.
What occasions?
Like the one in question. The last time a lady and I actually...
Be quiet. I don't want to hear any more.
Yes, that's what she said. Strange. Well, now, have I your permission to go to bed?
Go to bed? On Midsummer Eve?
Yes. Dancing with that pack up there doesn't greatly amuse me.
Get the key of the boat and row me out onto the lake. I want to see the sunrise.
Is that wise?
You speak as though you were frightened of your reputation.
Why not? I don't want to make myself a laughingstock or get sacked without a reference just when I'm beginning to make my way. Besides, I think I have Christine to consider.
Oh, I see. It's Christine now, is it?
Yes, but it's you two. Take my advice. Go to bed.
Am I to obey you?
For once, for your own sake. It's late. Drowsiness makes one drunk. One's head goes dizzy. Go to bed. Besides, if my ears don't deceive me, I think that's the other servants coming here to look for me. If they found us here together, you were lost.
I know these people and I love them as I know they love me. Let them come here and I'll prove it to you.
No, Miss Julie, they don't love you. They take your food, but when you turn your back, they spit at you. Listen. Listen to what they're singing. No, don't listen.
What are they singing?
It's a filthy song about you and me.
Oh, how dare they? The traitors!
Ah, but that's what they're like. We can't fight them. One can only run away.
Run away? But where to? We can't go out and we can't go into Christine's room.
No. Into my room, then? Oh, we can't bother about convention now. You can trust me. I am your true, loyal, and respectful friend.
But suppose they come and look for you in there.
I'll bolt the door. And if they try to break in, I shall shoot. Come. Please. Come.
You promise?
I swear.
This was a co-production of Miami-Dade Community College and British Broadcasting Corporation, British Open University.
On the morning that we recorded this scene, I was still convinced that we would be unable to get through it. I think that was because I had underestimated the actor's intuitive response to a performance situation. And so we did the scene. Curious enough, we did the scene for the very first time without forgetting the lines.
That's right, it was very heady, because I remember when we drove down the road afterwards and we thought, my goodness, we actually did it, we did it. But then seeing it, I mean, the sense of excitement that we had while we were doing it, I didn't see that when I saw it. What I saw watching it were all the gaps and sort of areas of questioning that I still want to ask about the scene. It wasn't complete yet, it wasn't nearly where...